That's true. Specific. It's actually after 7. Oh yeah, Village.
It's not functional.
Oh, it's good.
Oh, it's
No, that was there. You're right. You're good.
Yeah.
There are so many screens.
It is a
Just
clicker.
look at you.
Date's on.
It is fit.
Okay.
Oh, that's it.
We ready?
Yeah, you're on.
All right. Let's start the board of directors meeting for the Business Park, November 5th, 2019. Public comment, we'll start off with that. Just please state your name and address for the last 3 minutes. Okay, seeing none, we'll get to our reports. Kyle will be here a little bit later. But town board, any updates with the town? Anything we need to know about?
Maybe that's your job.
You do well. Go ahead.
You do the updates.
Yeah, we're working on.
No, go ahead. No.
We're working on the IGA with the county right now. That's one of the big things to work on right
Is it
now.
the planning commission one? Or
It's for the development code, comprehensive plans and stuff. That's the biggest thing that's going on that might affect in some ways
Sure.
Business Park, I think.
Prospect Mountain,
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thumb Park, looking at a GOCO grant to actually purchase that GOCO grant plus some town money to purchase that open space, turn into a town park. That issue is going to come before the town board before too long. Needs to be in our 2020 budget, so the board has to decide whether to put it there or not. And then lots, we got to get a grant from GOCO and such, but that will be of interest to people for sure.
So I know it's like $250,000 to purchase that plot.
For us, it's about $600,000 total.
Okay.
So there's the grant plus the town's portion, so we'd cover it.
I mean, I know we can't give to anything like that, but if there's any way that we could help out, I'm sure that'd be something we look into.
Well,
I think the project is great for us as part and for what we're doing here as a whole.
Oh, I and I totally agree with you there. So there are a couple of things. One, there is no management plan for that park at this time, so that'll have to be a public process as we go forward. This is just kind of the way grants work, is we apply for them and then we do the management plan, which sounds backwards and is backwards,
Right.
but that's just the way it works. So that'll be coming up. Input from Businesses Park, I think, will be critical. But honestly, right now, at this point, if you support that concept of having that be a city park, letters of support would be greatly appreciated. And those can be sent right to the town clerk. And that is great. There has been some opposition from the neighbors, and I don't mean that in a bad way. They have some legitimate concerns that need to be addressed if we're going to go forward with the city park. So keep that in mind. But this money can only be spent. It's open space money. It can only be spent on this kind of thing that was never really on our priority list. Is now, because it has just kind of come to fruition, and the owners agreed to sell this price at a pretty hefty discount. So that this can be made into a city park, and it's a cool area.
But support letters would be really helpful.
Yeah, there he is. Awesome. Okay, yeah, I think that's something we can probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
So not just Business Park, but
business
business owners, individuals.
We could do a mailing to the stakeholders, right?
Yeah,
Encourage them to.
stakeholders, like I said, the Lighting Association probably do something like EBC, probably put something out. Okay.
Yeah, so that's going to be coming forward. There'll be a lot of discussion.
Okay. Good. Very good.
Those are the two big things.
Any questions? Kyle, we'll have you go ahead.
Hello,
Like,
everybody. Hi. Sorry I'm a little late.
Oh, you're fine.
I do not have a lot for you this evening, mainly to be here in case you have any questions for me. We don't have our October visitation numbers yet. You all know that it usually comes about the second week of the following month. And so we should have those probably by end of next week. It seemed like a very busy October, but it was also very cold October. So, it's a big guess at this point, but it seemed pretty busy. I think you all got a copy of the pile burning news release, so we'll keep you posted on that. That's one of these where we send it far in advance and then just give people a heads up in case we have it. And, you know, obviously you all know that the conditions have to be right. We were hoping that we'd be able to do another prescribed burn, like we did last October, right around that area of the Beaver Meadows entrance, but we just never had a window. But the pile burning will be in areas that will be pretty visible, so we'll certainly let you all know. You know, particularly we've got a couple of big areas that would be probably the last ones that are over by, you see pretty well from the Y. And, you know, Debbie from your area you would see as well. So we'll keep you posted on that. But 'tis the season for us to jump on that when we can. And then we're also looking at some projects for next year that I will keep you guys posted on. One is some road construction. That is from the Beaver Meadows entrance area up to Deer Ridge Junction. So we're waiting to hear kind of funding, and these are the things we put out for bid. So at our at your December meeting, I should be able to share some more information and dates and everything, but it's too soon. But I at least wanted to let you know that it's very possible from that section of road, and there's 3 potential phases. So we're trying to really figure out which phase is possible and what the impacts will be. We're trying to minimize the impacts as much as we can, but we all know that there's a window we can do this work. So we'll keep you posted. I think those were all the major things. We're, I think, in mainly winter road status now, which means, you know, Upper Beaver Meadows Road is closed, but it's a great opportunity for people to run on that road and walk their dogs. Old Fall River Road is still, you can walk your dogs and also ride your bikes. Same with Trail Ridge Road, that will all change on December 1st when it reverts to trail status. So we're kind of in that period, and we've got, you know, some pretty decent snow already up at Bear Lake. So from the storm. Last I heard was about 21 inches. Probably some has melted a little bit, but yeah, that's pretty decent for this time of year. And I'm starting to get some, you know, pretty good base up at Hidden Valley too. So,
It reminds me to put the elk moose in the bear out.
Yeah, we want to thank you for that.
absolutely.
And the Bigfoot too.
And the Bigfoot. The Bigfoot was seen too.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
Very good. And we worked with Visit Estes Park in the town. I guess you had some meeting planners that were here. And so they went into the park yesterday. I gotta get my days straight. So yeah, did you hear that?
Yes, as far as like a road status, especially going up to Hidden Valley.
Yes.
I know a lot of people do come up here for that, and last couple snowstorms it has been closed. The gate's been closed at Deer Ridge Junction.
Mm-hmm.
Any plan of closing it up further than that, like past the Hidden Valley gate?
So
I mean, it's
usually-
frustrating, I know, for a lot of people getting up there, come up here to go skiing, and then get
Yeah.
turned around.
Yeah, so
Okay.
usually Trail Ridge Road, we keep it open to Mini Parks Curve when conditions allow. And then we pull it down to Deer Ridge Junction if the weather and road conditions are really poor. We plow Bear Lake Road first because of the focus on most of our visitors. A lot of our visitors are going to Bear Lake Road, so we have to focus our resources there first. So that's where we go first, and then we'll go up above Deer Ridge Junction to plow. And yeah, it sounds like I was really happy that Rachel reached out to me because it sounded like there was some bad beta that was out there as well. Like some people were saying that they were being turned around at the Beaver Meadows entrance. They were never being turned around at the Beaver Meadows entrance. We sorted through that. It sounded like people were saying, I want to get to Hidden Valley. And we were saying it's closed at Deer Ridge Junction. And then I think we had it open by noon.
We had a lot of
that
ice
day.
up there,
We had a
because
ton of
we
ice up
had
there.
one of our homeowners in a 4-wheel drive truck just
Oh, yeah.
off the road, and
Yeah.
she broke her arm in 2 places. So,
Yeah. We
yeah,
had some pretty significant,
Yeah.
slide offs and
everybody was saying it
injuries.
was icy, much more
Yeah.
than usual. So.
Yeah, and so what we have to do is we plow and then we grade and then we have to sand. And so, you know, I realize that a lot of locals are like, come on, but we can't just open it for the locals. You know, as you know, Sean, it's like, okay, we have to kind of make sure that it's as clear as possible for our level of visitation that we have and for the driving ability, quite frankly. But we tried to get it open as quickly as we could.
I've been asked by multiple, there's
Yeah.
people in the couple seating close up here.
Yeah.
You need to ask this one. Okay.
Yes,
I'll-
and we're. and
They
we
called me and that's
are-
how Rachel reached out to her.
Yeah.
Because they were like, why is it closed?
Yeah, exactly. And we're happy to talk with folks about that. And we also don't plow 24/7. I mean, I think you guys have heard about our staffing issues over the years. So I think there's also, we get that people want to get up there, at 5 o'clock in the morning, but our plows basically run from 7 to 4, and that's it. That's all we have the staffing for.
Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
understandable.
So I don't want to sound defensive. It's just
Is
our
it-
reality.
No,
It's
I-
our reality.
I promise I'd bring it up and I just
Yeah.
wanted to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a way
So
that
what are
we
you
can
gonna say,
know,
because she said
like,
so?
when that closed, so we can put it out through our channels?
We usually tweet it.
Okay.
So if people follow us on Twitter, unfortunately, our gal that does our Twitter on that day has an upper respiratory infection. So that was part of
Part
it.
of it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so yeah, we'll continue to make sure we're communicating as best we can, but also just setting expectations
That's,
for folks as well.
I think it was just Tuesday, just a bad day, just it all came out once and it was just one.
Yeah, ice
Kind of
fell and
perfect
people were
storm.
eager to get up
Yeah.
there and
But
Yeah.
yeah, I heard about it.
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yep.
And some people are nastier than others, right?
Exactly.
I'm sure you didn't hear anything.
There isn't really a recording up there, it's just Kyle over and over again saying the same thing. I heard your voice the other day though when I called up. I forget what day it was.
Yeah, I
but
think it was probably Trowbridge Road.
Yeah,
Since Trowbridge
that's
Road
probably-
status.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you though. We'll continue to make sure that we're tweeting as best we can. And I did not realize that she was gone until I was like, have we tweeted this? Oh, she's not here today.
Yeah, I think it was that perfect storm of, they asked us and we're like, we looked and we're like, no, I think it's open.
Yeah.
It's not open.
Yeah, well, and also, again, some of that gang was pushing out that the road was closed
Right.
at the entrance station, which was unfortunate that they were kind of sharing that because that was not accurate.
Is that Prospect Mountain? Is that the photo?
Looks like it.
Kind of the west side of the rocks?
Looks like it was
on the west
his
side?
thumb.
Yeah, it's pretty Mirrors Lake, yeah.
Did that on purpose.
I know, it was like, we're just
You
you're
were
talking
talking
about it. I was like, that's perfect.
Nice choice. Way to go.
Right, any other questions? Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank
Kyle.
you.
So we have a pretty light agenda today. Just a couple of reports and approving minutes. Can I get an approval of the minutes? Or I'm sorry, approval of the agenda? So moved.
Second.
Votes?
Aye.
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 All right, the agenda has been approved. So Eric, take it away.
You bet. So, first of all, just an update on the operating plan. Our study session is scheduled for Tuesday, November 12th, and that's at 5 p.m. And then we have our public budget hearing on Wednesday, November 20th at 9 a.m. So I just want to make sure the board is aware of that.
And that's at the town hall, right?
Mhm.
And then we're still waiting for the exact date and time for the county for their, they haven't communicated if they want to do a study session or not, but we're just waiting to hear.
I know in the past they've just done it on their
Consent.
consent agenda, but that's right.
What was that? I'm sorry, what was the first meeting?
First meeting is the study session. That's on November 12th. It's a Tuesday at 5 p.m.
I showed up at 6.
Oh, it's in.
That's
Okay,
you.
I was like,
Yeah, the one that's
wait,
relevant
we
is
are already getting
Thank
it.
you.
Wednesday,
I
November
was cool.
20th.
I was like, I got that one.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well,
My brain's
I would
turning
be
off.
fine with this.
See, I wrote it. I still.
Can you talk?
No, I can't, I can't figure out the calendar.
So anyway, that's where we are on all that. Obviously, we need to get our operating plan approved by the end of the year, I guess, pretty much. So, and there you go.
As long as the county votes on it before then, that's.
Then we're good. Just want to mention that we attended the bridal show in Denver, generated about 129 written leads, which is cool. Also attended the Governor's Tourism Conference in Denver and conducted 34 community staff and stakeholder meetings in October. And obviously we just finished the Smart Meetings event today. And we had about 75 meeting planners from all over the United States, large and small. A lot of smaller meeting planners, which is fine because they typically represent smaller groups. But we did have, for example, the second largest steel company represented that does over 200 meetings in the US a year. So, yeah, and they've already booked the Stanley as a result of the meeting. So it's really good. So some good things came out of that. And it was great that we were able to host that here in Estes Park. I don't know how long it's been since we've hosted an event like that, but anytime you can get meeting planners to actually come up and experience the area, it really is a whole lot different than trying to explain it to them in another city. And so it just makes the sales effort much easier. Also, we had our annual summit on October 24th, and I know some of you attended it, and I hope you enjoyed it. I think our team did a great job of presenting different sessions, and I hope it was really helpful for our stakeholders. That was the whole idea, is to really start engaging our stakeholders, get them more engaged with how they can take advantage of the different things that Visit Estes Park has to offer.
Rachel, I want to mention that I attended both of Rachel's sessions, and they were amazing.
Great.
Yeah, it's a great job.
Everything I attended, it was very well put together. You guys did a great job.
Thank you.
And the classes were wonderful.
Oh, I have
Everybody
questions.
got on those.
Yeah, it was great. I did take a look, and I wondered also for people watching, maybe they'd be interested. You said that there were recordings, and I didn't find them super easily, so maybe you can direct me.
I'm still working on them. I have
Okay.
to do a little bit more cleanup because my son got sick
Oh.
while the summit was happening. So
Okay.
I'm in cleanup mode
So
right
they
now.
will be posted on our Visit Estes Park transparency page,
Okay.
so that stakeholders who weren't able to attend can go there and find all of the recorded sessions, which would be helpful, I think, for a lot of them. So, and we'll start posting those as soon as we can get them cleaned up.
Probably watch the ones I missed. 'Cause-
Yeah.
I know, it was like, which ones are you good at? They're all interesting. So I hope that stakeholders out there will take advantage of that, and thank you for bringing that up. It's very important. Also, we have a really cool thing, which is a brand new Google travel program. And I did include that in your packet. It's kind of just a brief piece of the description. It's not the entire packet. I didn't want to fill it up too much. But basically, this is a pretty inexpensive package that is matched by the Colorado Tourism Office. And we're planning on launching this in January. It will include an audit of all of our stakeholders. So whether you're a restaurant or a lodging property or a tour operator, basically it's going to look at, do they have a Google business, listing that they've claimed their business, because you have to actually go on Google and claim your business in order to be listed properly in the Google business pages. But it also will help to populate the entire travel section of Google for Estes Park, which is really a great thing. And it would definitely be a boost to business for every business that doesn't have that stuff completed. So those are things like when you look up something on your phone and you look up a business and it talks about their operating hours and they're open or not. So they don't even have to go to their website. So it really gives the information that you're looking for. And a lot of times, most people don't even go to the website, they just look at that listing. So this will help solve all of that. But it also goes deeper into the travel section of Google, which has just been completely revamped. And so that's a whole lot of information that is going to be really interesting, I think, for a lot of our stakeholders. So again, the cost to our stakeholders will be zero. They won't have to pay a single dollar. We're hosting that effort. And so I think it's a great benefit, and I hope that all the stakeholders will take advantage of it.
So do the stakeholders have to opt into this, or like how? Okay.
So they won't have to opt into the audit part of it, because we have an agency that will actually look at it, and that's kind of they just go and do a search through Google for all of Estes Park, and they're going to actually audit everything. And then they'll come back and say, here's all the businesses that we found. These are the ones that are populated properly, and here's the ones that could improve. And then we can reach out to those businesses through our stakeholder services team and say, hey, you guys, you could really, we'd like to help you improve your travel section in Google, which will really help you a lot.
So it'll be like, for the stakeholders that would like to do this, are they going to be contacted by Business Park, or do they need to contact Business Park?
So they will be contacted by us as a result of the audit. So
Okay.
it'll show us who needs help and who doesn't.
Okay.
Also, we've had discussions with the town with the Estes Park Event Center, and we're looking at we currently have an SLA, not a intergovernmental agreement. And so we're gonna look at that service level agreement. We've already gone through it. There's a lot of stuff that was old and needed to be revamped. And so I'm working with Travis and Rob and our team. And so we're going through that. We're gonna try to get to a draft position, and we'll bring it to our board, to all of you, to review and take a look at and take it from there, basically. And that covers kind of all aspects of the agreement between the town and Visit Estes Park. So that's, I think, a really good activity. That will include looking at how do we work together on things so we aren't duplicating efforts on things like group marketing and stuff like that as well. So there'll be some new stuff in there, but most of it's current stuff that we're trying to revise. Also, we had our, I also attended the ELA dinner, made a presentation. I know a couple of our board members were present. So again, we're just trying to reach out to the community and engage with our stakeholders and make sure they're up to date. We shared a lot of our new data that we got for our annual survey information, which I think we still have to present to all of you. So we'll be doing that. But anyway, it was good information, and it was a nice evening. Our community advisory board has been put together and launched its first meeting. And I think it was very positive. I included an article from the Trail Gazette. We've actually invited the publisher of the Trail Gazette to participate on that, and so it was really great. And there was a concern that was brought up regarding having good representation and diverse representation on that board, and we are striving at all times to try to do that. About 80% of the board was determined by the actual organizations that we reached out to. So we asked them to, hey, give us a candidate that you think you would like to represent your organization. And we did pick some based on discussions with our staff, just as far as who's out there and who's available. But we will strive to improve that. Right now we have, for an example, 6 women on the, actually 7 women on the advisory board. And I think we have a total of 24 people. Of those, only about 70% of those people showed up for the first meeting. So anyway, so we'll keep trying to improve upon that. And just to remind everybody, we're only meeting 4 times a year at this time. So it's 4 meetings, and then we're gonna convert and bring in and shift off a third of the board. So it'll be kind of a steady flow of people going in and out.
So I think you're probably gonna find out who shows up and who doesn't.
Yeah.
And then try to reach out to more active people so that it'll give you an opportunity to reach out to some of the female business owners in town.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we did, for instance, we invited Green Jeeps, and that's a female owner, and she forgot about the meeting and missed it. But anyway, so we're gonna run into that no matter what you do. So
We struggle with it in the town too.
I'm sure.
Committees made up of people other than the single faces.
yeah, I mean, our goal and what we're always striving to do is to make sure that our committees and our board and even our team is representative of the community. We think that's very important. So, and that concludes my report. Thanks.
Yeah, before I jump into what I have written here, just an update on something that I believe all the town board got an email on almost a month ago now. We had a stakeholder in town who was unable to pay his lodging tax. Reached out to the town board and the town clerk as well. The map was off on the tax website. I have spent 29 days trying to get somebody to respond at tax, and finally today I heard back. And so that was a big issue because obviously this person lives in the boundary. For anyone that doesn't know, a stakeholder who is in the boundary who owns an Airbnb, has a permit through the town, just went on one day and was unable to pay his tax. The Colorado.gov website is telling him, you do not live in the boundary. And he clearly lives in the boundary. And so anybody that'll take a call at tax, I've been trying to reach out to because I have no access or anything. Today we found out it is a error deep in both taxes code and Airbnb's code. And so they are both working on it, and Lord knows when we'll have an answer, but at least that is something. It is a start and an identified of the problem, and taxes, now that they know this, they're pretty aggressive on it because until it seemed like I wasn't getting an answer because I don't think anybody knew what was going going on. And so today we heard back, and I just reached out to that gentleman again today, but it's been 28 days without an answer because a lot of people have been looking at it. So because I know that got to you guys, that got to you. So I just wanted to finally give that answer because we got it about 3
At
hours
least he
ago.
wants to pay his tax.
Exactly.
Exactly, that's what.
Exactly. He was really afraid he was going to get dinged multiple times. And so we've addressed that with tax too, that he's not non-compliant through this. So, and it seems like it's systemic of a bigger issue from Airbnb that might even be causing this issue nationwide of certain things. So
Do you think, are there a lot of people in this town that would be like are in the
don't
district that
know. That's part of the issue. I don't think so. From the way they described it, it kind of seemed like a weird series of events based on just the way his address is coded in like the Google, the way Google does it, and Airbnb uses the Google Maps and some sort of thing with it. But he's just right in town. It makes no sense when you look at the map. It's not like he's out in the county or anything. He's just right in town. If we had that problem with multiple people, this tax number would be nothing.
Right.
We would be getting nothing from any Airbnbs or anything. So I wish I had a good answer, but it sounds like from talking to them, the answer is no, because it seems really rare.
Okay.
But we won't know, and who knows how long until they fix it. But
It did sound like that.
yeah, it was definitely tied to his address in some way, shape, or form, and some sort of mapping issue. But all the tech stuff is about 3 levels above my head. I'm trying to understand it. So, but I just want to give that update because it's a pretty pressing issue, and we just got the answer. So, looking at lodging tax, we are over budget for September, so that's discussing the August stays, of course. But we are under last year. Wanted to put a little addendum on that. We had a fairly large taxpayer that did miss their filing deadline, and when you look at sales tax, they also had a large filer miss theirs, and it shows under as well. We don't know if they're the same because we can't communicate that information, but based on the size, probably. So when you were to factor that in, I went back and looked if that organization had paid the exact same in 2018 as they had done in 19, we would have been up a fair amount, about 3 to 4%. Still, one of the weaker sectors in Estes Park for that month. Even though it would be up 4 or 5%, it's still one of the weaker sectors compared to restaurants, retail. Those are the main ones that we compare. Any notable expenses that you would see? Just the quarterly ad spend that hits September. That's our first installment of our 1920 winter campaigns. Nothing too crazy there. I'll jump back up. Sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit. Lodging tax, but when you look at lodging tax year to date, we are still $128,000 over budget through the month of September. Which is still strong. That's over 10%. So really just been a pretty strong year all around. And I think the most amazing thing is that it's been a strong year, but we're still the weakest sector compared to the others in town. Beyond that, of course, with that comes our balance sheet, still on a really strong $560,000 in operating capital. Our receivables are going down. Obviously, I always bring this up, but the receivables are very high. That's planned with the launch of the web sales. We basically give our stakeholders, if they're willing to work with us on a payment plan, we will work with them. And because of that, it creates a fairly large receivable line. But beyond that, again, the sales tax down 0.03%. That is attributed to a fairly large missed filing. So I expect it to be just online with our lodging tax. Same exact issue. Any questions? That's all I have then.
Okay. Any operational updates today?
Sorry, but then here you go. Thing just went totally off. Paper. It's like it just missed. So first, starting off with our marketing update, you can, if you look at the top 4 categories of users, sessions, page views, they're all up. We're a little bit down on the session duration. So that's basically how long people stay on the site. Highway traffic was actually down on both 34 and 36, but visitation at our visitor center was up. So, you kind of look at these things and maybe there's more people per car. I hope that would be great. Right?
Looking at the traffic though, I don't see it. I mean, it's been
It's
horrendous,
busy.
yeah.
It's been really busy. The Rocky Mountain National Park, according to the stats I had for September, was down a little bit, 4%.
Yeah.
And that's still busy though at that time of year, so I don't want to make it sound like they're down that much.
No.
Also, PR performance, we continue to improve our ROI, so we're at 8.7 now to 1, which is great. It's almost up to $500,000. Again, I want to mention that on the PR performance, there's a whole new formula that they're using. So I talked to our agency about that, and they said, yeah, you're going to be about 40% less than what if we were using the other formula. So we would be at about closer to $1 million if we were using the old formula, but now they're doing a much better formula that's more accurate. So this is a more accurately reflects the value of that PR if it were an advertisement on that publication.
Jumping on that, one of those sessions, Turner did touch on it from the annual meeting, so if you are interested, you can watch that on the website.
There you go.
Once I get it posted.
Exactly.
So our athletes in residence program, again, is continuing to be very successful, and I'm really pleased that the Colorado Tourism Office did award us the $25,000, the full amount. So that will just help to add to that program, and that is specifically for that program, so we have to spend it just on that. And you can see that the engagement and the reach, 5 million, that's a great reach, and it's just working really well. And again, it's helping to tell a story about outdoor activities and things you can do during the wintertime, the spring, the fall, all the different times of the year that where we are really trying to boost our demand a little bit more, get a little more folks to come up and experience things. And hopefully the park is open for that stuff. So can't control the snow.
On the athlete residents on the grant, are there like timelines that
Just
we need to meet?
the next
Because
year.
Okay. That was a major reason why we had to return the other grant was we didn't meet a deadline that we said we were going to do. Is there, they have it all
Our team
done?
is really watching that
Okay.
carefully to make sure we're not missing anything. So
Okay.
as far as I'm aware, we've fulfilled everything that we had to do because we did have to do some follow-up paperwork before it was 100% approved. And all of it will take place next year. So it'll be in the 2020.
So is it like you're doing like 4 a year, or is it just pretty much up to us?
Yeah, it's up to us as long as we're spending it on the athlete in residence program. So it's as many additional athletes as we can get to participate in the program. So
And it caps out at 25 grand, right? When it gets
That's-
to maximum.
and it's matched by us, so we match it with 25.
Okay.
It's a matching program. On our stakeholder services side, they just continue to really improve outreach. I mean, every month you're just going to see the numbers continue to increase. So listing services, obviously higher, website listings, all of trainings, photography services outreach, stakeholder photo shoots, stakeholder, and also just general photo shoots like at events and things like that. So everybody on that team is doing really well. We did make one change on that team, and so we are actually hiring a new person, and we'll be interviewing this week to fill that position. And that was Elena, and so she's now left, and we're going to refill that I hope this week. We have about 90 candidates, and we've filtered that down to about 5 finalists. I think it's 5 or 4 finalists. So it looks like some really strong people, and we're really looking for somebody who's very detail oriented who can help us with our CRM to make sure our customer relationship management system is updated properly and following up on a lot of the detail work. So that's going to be really helpful for Abby's team.
That job title is administrative assistant? Or
Yeah, for now, that's what it is. And group sales profiles created. Again, that continues to grow. And requests for proposals, service requests, and consumer contacts. And so basically, stakeholder team's very engaged. We're falling a little short of where we wanted to be related to the visitor guide sales, but part of that is because that whole team's engaged in web sales. So they're now starting to really focus on visitor guide. And we might not make where we thought we could get to for the end of the year. So we might end up short. We probably will be.
However, today, stakeholder services, the big fear of web sales, they've blown the budget. They're already above. They're $20,000 over our budget. So
I wouldn't pass
today's invoices.
put past them to make goal.
That was the scary one,
Yeah, that's great.
was that web
That's
sales. And
I mean, we were guessing at the web sales, we weren't sure where that would be, so anyway. So we'll be very aggressive. We've got 6 weeks to kind of get back to where we want to be on that. And that pretty well completes the report for that.
All right. Okay, so moving on, we'll go to our consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from October 1st, 2019?
So move.
Second? Any comments? Public comment? Christine, take your votes.
Aye.
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 Aye. All right, the minutes have passed. Other than that, any board comments? Very good. It's a quick meeting. All right. See you next month, everybody.
New record.
No,
Yes.
you'll see us
Oh, no, it's fine.
There's no other way to ask it.
That's all right.
Yes.
Some guy